Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up.
The D-backs. The D-backs are going to the World Series. Game 7. God damn. No one had him doing it. What? You can't hear? You can't hear, Dallas? What?
Yeah, no, I just even, like you just.
What?
I don't know.
What?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're bored. You're bored.
Time.
No, fuck you. I thought you couldn't hear the song. You're just bored because the D-backs are in the World Series. You're an asshole. No, show the D-backs some respect, you piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. No one on this podcast picked the D-backs. We all picked the Phillies. We gotta wear it now. No one had them beating the Dodgers. No one had them beating the Brewers. No one gave them a chance against the Phillies. No one thought that the series was coming back to Philly after Philly was up 2-0. No one had them winning a game at the bank after they fucking went to Arizona. Listen.
I did. I had a lot of those, by the way.
Go ahead. Which ones did you have, Joe?
I had them beating the Brewers. I had them beating the Doyers, and I had them winning game 6.
You got a weird brain.
Genius.
Dallas, what are your thoughts? Because I feel like you have a take.
No, look.
You want to disparage the Diamondbacks.
No, not at all.
Shit.
Not at all. If anything, what needs to happen is there needs to be credit given where credit is due. And shout out to the fucking law firm of Ginkle, Seawald, and Thompson, because those boys been slicing and dicing down there in that arm barn. I mean, neither Ginkle or Seawald and Ernie this entire postseason. Thompson spinning it as well. How about Bot fucking Dylan? Come on, dude. Nobody, and it's okay to say that, but nobody saw this happening. You're getting what you're getting out of Merrill Kelly and Bot, and it's Zach Gallen. It's Zach Gallen, the one that's not quite getting it done. The one that's floundering out of those three, out of the three-headed snake. It's Gallen. So, I mean, look. It's almost like the offense also heard like, hey, you guys want to steal some bases? You guys want to move around?
Then isn't that literally what we said on the last podcast? Like if the D-backs win the series, it's because blank. And we all said if they were more aggressive on the base pass and if they started swiping bags, and that's exactly what they did in game 6 and game 7. They won both games.
Yeah.
How many damn steals they have tonight?
I was going to say 6. 5 or 6, Joe. 5 or 6. Yeah. And I mean, and as much credit as we do need to give to the Diamondbacks and guys like Carroll for turning it around, Marte. I mean, shout out Marte. Are you kidding me? The longest streak to start a postseason career, 16-game hit streak.
I think it's
for
just
Marte.
the National League.
They're National League. Okay, well, still pretty fucking cool. Jared, don't
pretty cool.
let facts get in the way of cool shit. And it's the lack of what we got out of Philadelphia as well. Game 6 and 7, Schwartz, Harp, Trey, 1 for 20. Not ideal. They had no offense. Castellanos. Oh, Nick and Liam were 0 for 22 after Nick hit the first bomb, right?
Leave the kids out of it, dude.
I love the little guy. That little guy's fucking fire, but he's
you're blaming a little kid for the one.
No, I'm not.
26. You said Nick and Liam. You're gonna blame the kid? I think it's fair. I mean, when he hits a home run, they gave him a lot of credit. Hit a home run, show the kid. How about when he strikes out? You don't show the kid?
No, Joe, have a heart, Joseph. Criminy. We know you hate family. Let Liam live, bro. Let the guy live.
It's entertainment, brother. It's all entertainment. Show the fucking kid. I want to see crying. I want to see him crying because this not that I want to see it, but it's, you have to show the highs, you got to show the lows. It's a crushing defeat for the Phils. I'm a Phillies fucking fan. How do you think I feel right now?
Yeah.
That was just.
What'd you do with the towel? Where's the towel, Joe?
It's soaking wet, bro, from crying. I don't know. I was swinging it around. I had my backup towel. I was swinging it so fucking hard. I was rooting for the Phillies. And let's be honest, I think everybody was rooting for the Phillies.
Yeah.
The baseball world.
There was a lot of people. I mean, even my wife, like as soon as the last out was made and we were watching it, neither one of us really said anything. She just kind of looked at me and I was just like, and she goes, this sucks. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, I've got people, Barry Enright, part of the pitching staff or the coaching staff over there, but part of the pitching brain trust over there. I'm super, super excited for Barry. Couldn't be happier for that dude. He has been a part of that organization for a long time, not only as a player, but as a coach. So, I mean, there's great stories to dive into. I'm really happy for Paul Sewald, a guy that, the guy that I have kind of gotten to know in his time in Seattle. So there's going to be storylines that I think people can get excited about, Marte and the hit streak. And so while the Diamondbacks might not slap you across the face with star after star after star, when you talk about an 84-win team creeping their way into the World Series, I think you have to start to open up your heart and find a way to fall in love with what we're on the verge of potentially watching, which is a team come out of absolutely nowhere in the postseason and do exactly what needed to be done from the minute the calendar turned to October to right now. And that's play their best brand of baseball as consistently as they possibly could.
Well, they pulled out like an upset that no one saw no one saw that coming. Going down 2-0.
Oh, no.
And then stealing. But then even going back to the bank, having to win both games. Mm-hmm. A team that won 84 games, why does it feel like nobody's on their side? Like nobody wants to ride with the underdogs right now.
I think it's because there was so much excitement and so much fun being had and maybe to be had in other places. It's not that nobody was on board with the Snakes. It's just that, like, where are you trying to go? You want to go to the Bob or you want to go to the bank? You know what I'm talking about? I think that kind of that answers itself. So when you get to the product on the field, though, that's why I say we got to give credit where credit is due, and you have to be serious about some of the unfolding storylines that can get you excited about a group, again, that was not at any point in time positioned to be in this spot right now. But they're here, and they have showed you over the course of the last month plus why they're here. They have won the way that you need to win. And that's by getting the job done on the mound and getting the offense to click at the right time.
That's enough to win the series, but I don't think it's enough to win America. I think people, if your team is knocked out of it, people like to watch stars. People want to see Bryce Harper. They want to see Schwarber. They want to see Turner. They want to see Real Muta. They want to see Nola. They want to see Wheeler. And I think that's why, even though there was a huge gap in payroll between these two teams, I think more people gravitated towards the Phillies than the DBacks. It wasn't because, the DBacks won 84 games and they're boring. It's just like, if they won 84 games and they had stars, then people would be like, oh, that's fun and exciting. If Chase Field was as rockin' as the bank, then maybe people would be like that too. I don't know. I think it's just more people gravitate towards the star power.
Well, and I have said this, I've referenced this very thing multiple times, and I always go back to when fan voting occurred for the face of baseball. And it was David Wright at the height of his Mets, captainship, his stewardship, and he was neck and neck with Eric Sogard, right? A utility infielder for the A's, the nerd power. So, like, the idea that the fans now have the opportunity to really dive in over these next couple of days and prepare themselves, for what the Diamondbacks do have going on, because I think people are still going to be in shock day one, like, damn, what the Phillies were not able to do, as opposed to looking at what the Diamondbacks were able to do. Once that starts to happen, I mean, are you not excited about a dude who starts the postseason and gets a hit in every fucking game he plays from start to finish? That's pretty sweet.
I know Jay is waiting to suck off Ketel Marte. That's been his boy for years.
I'm ready to suck off a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
No, I mean, I think what's cool about this World Series and the Diamondbacks getting there is the classic case of teams not being good recently and building into something that matters relatively quickly. Not every rebuild needs to be a 10-year rebuild. These two teams were bad as recently as 2 seasons ago and were mediocre as recently as last season.
Didn't the whatchamacallits lose 100 games? Like 101 games?
That's what I'm saying. Games? 2 years ago, they were both really bad. Yeah. And so I think there's
Diamondbacks.
something beautiful about that as it relates to the game of baseball and being able to turn it around and be in the World Series, 2 seasons after that. So that I'm excited about that. There are individual players I'm excited about. I'm excited about Corbin Carroll, who obviously had a magnificent game tonight. First ever 2 RBI, 2 stolen base game in a Game 7 in postseason history. Any round. Just kind of surprised.
Isn't it just the second game for a rookie to get 3 knocks in a Game 7 as well?
Yep.
That's pretty sexy. That's sexual.
So I think his brand of baseball plays at the highest level, but I think it's okay to admit that the vast majority of people were emotionally pulling for the Phillies in this series. It felt like the narrative was behind them, that this team was cresting after coming up a little bit short last season. And that's the power of the narrative. Like, think about how dominant the Phillies were at home throughout their 2-season postseason run, right? 22 and 23. I believe prior to Game 6, they had out-homered their opponents 35-9 in home postseason games across the 35-9, and they'd been out-homered on the road. So it's not like they were also doing this on the road. And then all of a sudden they get Game 6 and Game 7 at home, and it's basic. I know they hit 1 home run tonight, but like it was basically nothing. And that supposed home field advantage disintegrated into nothingness.
Well, the fans try to do
that's the
everything
beauty
they
of baseball
could.
too. It works right up until it doesn't, right?
Think about the Diamondbacks, and I mean, again, just some of the narrative around them, or maybe lack of, and then what you have in Philly, right? You have the lovable Kyle Schwarber. Everybody's on board with Schwarbombs. Everybody wants to see it. Everybody loves the fact that he's hitting under 200, but has 100 RBI. Like he's something people get excited about. Trey Turner and the fans and the ovation and what that did to turn his season around, right? That's a storyline that people can get excited about. Again, Castellanos and just the continued power output, the power run that he was on. Bryce Harper coming back, and there's a lot of things involving really high profile players that also got you excited.
Well,
like, damn, they are battling here. They are battling.
And you also breeze past it, but I think Bryce Harper was carrying a lot of the water for this excitement level nationally and like among baseball fans, because I think it just felt like it was about to be his moment, his postseason. Like that's it emotionally. It felt like that's where we're headed, and his performance was obviously backing that up. And the performance of kind of his, cast of character teammates was also backing that up. And that's just not how it played out. And that's okay. There's a lot of what ifs, I think, on the Philly side at this point, but I think there are things to get excited about this World Series. I think that, I brought up Marte, but we're talking about a guy who's got a 371 career batting average in the postseason now, which is pretty special. Certainly if you remove whatever like name value we're attaching and just look at what does this person do when he's on the field and how is he performing when he's on the field in the postseason, Ketel Marte is as exciting as any Phillies player, probably short of Bryce Harper himself, right? So it's
and Carroll too, like you talked about.
No question. Yeah. Sorry,
his
that
brand
was kind of assumed,
his game
for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, that's what a lot of folks are, I think, going to be introduced to right now, and they were all already kind of had that baked in with some of these other teams that we felt like probably should have been here over the Diamondbacks up until October came.
Yeah, I think the Phillies, they flew too close to the sun, man. We rode them in for the ship.
Sure did.
It was the best vibes ever.
Mm-hmm.
And to see him, it just feels like,
you know what?
It just doesn't feel real, bro.
Well, I think I think it'd be safe to say the song gets put to bed.
I saw that. I think Jake, you tweeted that. I'm gonna say it, bro. If the Phillies go to the playoffs next year, they're gonna play the fucking song again. It's too big of a song.
Oh no,
It's too big of a song.
Can't
The
run
thing
it
is
back.
getting
Jake. You can't run it back. Jake, do you run that back?
You got to retire it now.
Yeah, it's got to go.
they tried to retire it
It's
this year.
gotta
You can't
go.
retire it.
You can't do it after a step back.
No,
You can't play it
it
again.
can't happen. No,
Song's alive. Song's
It's
alive.
one thing to use it on a World Series run where you come up short, but if you use it again the next year and only get to the LCS, no chance.
no.
All right. Well, I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you, if the Phillies are in the same spot next year, they're going to be playing this bullshit every
All right,
single
I'll,
game.
I'll bet you that's not the case. No way.
Not bullshit. Not bullshit.
And it fits. It's also, if you lose, this is also
It's
like
emotional, sure.
It's, you know what I'm saying? It kind of fits the vibe. Like, we've lost. You know, don't be,
Depressing.
be happy it happened. Don't be sad it ended.
Yeah,
be
no,
happy it happened.
Because they're over in the corner right now, watching the D-backs just slither and slide on up to her and tongue her down.
It really is. It is really crazy, man. The Phillies, these last two runs, it's almost like there's been so many moments, so many fucking crazy shit, viral songs, dances, call outs, all that. And at the end of the day, they got nothing. All they did is get past the division series this year. It feels like they were the world champions 2 days ago. And now season's over, and it's like you won the division series. You got to the second round throughout. I mean, historically, it's the third round now, but you know, you won the divisional series. Congrats. It's a tough pill to swallow for the Phils.
Very tough. Jay, hey, let me ask you this question because I think in the starting 9 days we beat that narrative into the ground about the best team to never win a World Series. At least in our lifetime.
There's still people who tweet at me about just that.
What was it? The 2010 Phillies?
2011 Phillies.
2011 Phillies.
Yeah.
If now
Which
that,
I'm not even sure we said exactly, but we certainly talked about them as one of those possible teams. But anyway,
where does this 2023 Phillies team rank in the pantheon of best teams to not win a World Series? Do they fit in that? Just because of the regular season that they had?
I don't think this team belongs in that conversation. I don't think this team is, frankly, anywhere near the class of team as 2011 or even some of the other teams that
sick roster.
Yeah, even some of the other non-winning teams, like the 09 team that lost the World Series to the Yanks. I think that team was probably better. I think this team, to Joey's point about like what did they accomplish, like I think making the World Series is an accomplishment. I think making an LCS is an accomplishment. But I do think there's something to the idea that this team is going to be, this 2-year run is going to be like more fondly remembered.
10-11?
Yeah, it's going to be more remembered than I think like an 87 and 90 win team that didn't win probably deserves to be, in a way. You know what I mean? Like the Rangers 2010-2011 team, like that team was one strike away 2 different times from winning the World Series. Like they were on the verge in a way that the Phillies simply never were, even last season. I don't know. I think it's tough because I do think it's a likable team. I think it would, to Joey's point, there are a lot of flashbulb memories from these 2 runs that seemed like they were the memories that you make on the way to a World Series win. And sometimes sports doesn't work out that way. And I think they're built in some ways to compete again next season. But to answer your original question, they're just not in that conversation in terms of Major League Baseball teams. Maybe maybe best Phillies teams to not win recently, but even then we're talking about only, the 6th best team, 5th best team over the last couple of years, couple of decades.
Yeah, they're the best Phillies team in 2023 to not
win.
Wow.
You could safely say that.
Wow. That's disrespect, I feel like.
No. Just a fact. Just a fact.
Would anyone use the word choke here after going up 2-0?
I mean,
Nah, it's just baseball, man.
The whole postseason has just been baseball.
Yeah.
I think 3-0.
For
3-0's
all
choke.
the unexpected results that we've seen this postseason, I'm sure that there are people that are angry on Twitter right now talking about the randomness of the postseason and they want to change the format and this and that and reseed after the first round. But I like the randomness of it.
Well, just think about what the Astros experienced in 2019 and what they just went through again. They lost every game at home. And they just went through that same thing. Right? No home team in the World Series won a fucking game at home.
There's been 2 postseason series of best of 7 where the road team won every game.
Won every
the
game.
Astros lost both of them.
And the Astros were on the losing end of both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's baseball.
That's the way baseball go.
Just incredible. I mean, I think, yeah, dude, you just never know. You never know where you're going to get the performance. You never know when you're not going to get the performance. And I think the Ginkel, the Seawald, the Fat, and the Kelly, and then the 1 for 20 over game 6 and 7. Like those are the 2 games you got to win. 2 games you got to win.
That's great.
And who do you get on the mound in those 2 games? And what do you get on the mound in those 2 games from the DBacks? You get a stifling effort. They put the silencer on a third of the lineup. Just gone.
Yeah, it sucks to kind of simplify it like this way, but it's like the Phillies were winning in the same way every time. They were just smashing fucking home runs every single inning, just smashing home runs. And then we've seen the games they lost in this series. They couldn't hit home runs.
Good pitching.
Good pitching. Couldn't hit the big homers.
Well,
and the Snakes, they didn't hit home runs either. At least this game. I don't even remember last game. I don't know, but they just started stealing. Perfect time. Small ball the fuck out of the Titans.
We said that that's what they had to do.
And it worked perfectly. We had sacrifice bunts.
Well, they took the crowd out of it. I mean, just going up 1-0 in the first inning, you could feel the nervousness in the crowd. They're like, oh, fuck. Like they probably felt invincible. Like, all right, yeah, you're coming back to the bank for game 6, night. And they never even had a shot in game 6. And then they fall behind 1-0 early in game 7. And I think that the hushness fell over the crowd and you could feel that. You could feel it through the TV.
That's an underrated thing to do with crowd atmosphere. Very underrated. It's like when your team's hitting 2-run home runs every other inning, it's a lot easier to be pumped up. You know, that has a lot to do with the crowd noise, like, and why it's so pumped up all the time. It's obviously it's the loudest crowd environment there is, but if you're not hitting bombs every 2 innings, what do you think's going to happen?
Well, you never hear about great crowd noises during a prolonged losing streak, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
One guy I do want to think we should call out specifically too. He's been mentioned, but just at length is Brandon Pfaadt, because like we talked about him all the way back at the time of Madison Bumgarner's release on this podcast as a potential answer from the farm for this team. And he was absolutely terrible upon arrival, and we stopped talking about him, and that was fine because he was pitching badly and then got demoted. But this is a guy, you know, maybe not the playoff breakout star that we anticipated, and he's not really giving the bulk that would lead you to be an actual breakout star, but he's really performing quite well over an extended period of time. Specifically, he's got a 2.70 ERA in the postseason and a 2.81 ERA over his last 7 starts going back to mid-September of the regular season. So we knew they had solid work out of Gallen and Merrill Kelly during the regular season, and it was who would provide that third starting spot, and he has more than stepped up in that regard. After he and
Kelly have carried it. He and Kelly have carried it.
I mean, I remember personally saying on the, I think, first podcast we did for the postseason, like that the reason I liked the Brewers in that matchup was because they had the Corbin Burns, Brandon Pfaadt game 1.
Remember that? Everyone was like, "Oh God, they're fought. They're fucked. He'll go 2 innings." And it turns out to be one of the most important pitchers in the postseason.
So, shout out to him. Prospect developing on the biggest stage at the biggest moment.
That's it, baby.
Snakes alive.
That's it. Snakes alive.
Things are heating up in the ballpark, and the chase to crown a champion is on. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the baseball action. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Plus, all customers can take a crack at a sweet payday with DraftKings same-game parlays. String together multiple bets from a single game for your shot at a major payout. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code JARED. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code JARED. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms.
That means we have to pay attention to what's going on in the other league. The team they will be playing the Texas Rangers.
So is this the Max Scherzer revenge World Series?
Wow. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow. That is an old friend. That guy's played for every team.
I'm fighting like hell, Dallas. I'm fighting like hell over here. If you can only see me right now, I am kneeling on my chair with my elbows on the table, trying to find a position to get comfortable.
Cowboy up, get the fetal. Cowboy up.
I'm here. I'm doing my fucking best for them Texas Rangers, boy.
Get Jared some Toradol.
I'm doing my best because them Texas Rangers don't believe in us. No one believed in us on this podcast, Dallas. I know that you picked them, but you also picked the Astros too, so that doesn't count. Texas Rangers rolling into a Game 7 in Houston with Javier on the mound. Mr. I don't give up hits in the postseason. Mr. I'm going to boo Adolis Garcia every time he gets up to bat. You know what he said? Suck my cowboy fucking dick. That's what he said. Fucking grand slam here, double there, another home run, 5 home runs in 4 games. You can't. That was not the guy. That was not the. What's the old saying? You don't want to tug on the bull's dick or something like that.
Yep.
You don't want to tug on that bull's dick because we're getting higher than ever, Dallas. Can't get any higher than the World Series because that's where the American League champion Texas Rangers are going with Bruce Bochy at the helm. He's going back to the World Series for the first time since the San Francisco Giants went in 2010, 12, and 14, winning championship rings in those seasons. And here we are. Here we are, just where I thought that we would be, but everyone else not so much.
Hey, the Rangers offense came alive, man. Rangers offense came alive. Adolis Garcia drops dick 3 different times in Game 7. Yeah, that helps.
That should have been that. That's that when he hit the single and pimped it. Anyone that live bet Adolis Garcia to hit a home run after that was stealing.
What did you want him to do? First of all, there's a runner on, right? There's a runner on base. What was he going to do? Where was he going? He couldn't have
second base.
He couldn't have gotten to second base. There's somebody on second base.
No, that guy went to third, man.
Yeah, but he had to make the decision to get to third.
He should have ran. No. He didn't need to run. Turns out He made the right decision.
I think
Why risk injury? They ended up
Why
winning by
risk
fucking
injury?
13 runs. I mean, the guy, yeah. He shouldn't have to. He hasn't had to run all postseason. He just hits bomb after bomb after bomb.
yeah, that was just an incredible display. He answered the bell, man. He answered the bell. You know,
I mean,
we talked about Maldonado potentially trying to fire up the boys, if you will.
What did he say?
Looks like they picked the wrong
You woke up the Houston Astros. Go back to sleep, you fucking orange-haired fuck.
Wow.
I mean, he is. Is he not? He's got orange hair.
He does have orange hair.
Yeah. I mean, don't pick on Adolis Garcia. And you want to talk about old takes exposed for all of us not picking the D-backs. The amount of tweets that I got for Game 6 when I said I kind of feel like Adolis Garcia is not the guy that you want to be booing. And then he hits the grand slam. Oh, and then all Astros fans, for shame. I mean, listen, I know Astros fans are not the most popular fans in the world, but after Game 6, I was very disappointed in Astros fans because, first of all,
Watching him leave.
well, no. When I said you shouldn't boo Adolis Garcia, they jumped in immediately being like, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Then he hits the grand slam. And then after the grand slam, they were trying to justify it by saying, the game was over anyway. It was a save situation.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a less sympathetic group of people than complaining Astros fans online. I mean, just good fucking.
They've been through
good
a lot,
fucking
Jay,
riddance. Like
They've been through a lot.
nobody cares about any of the complaints.
It is. It feels like it's like they're the Patriots. It's like when the Patriots lose in the playoffs and they're like, "Fuck!" It's like, guys, shut
Like
the fuck up.
The
You
Abreu suspension thing. I saw somebody tweet that like there were people within the Astros organization broadly who thought that MLB had it out for them because Chris Young, who's like the president of the Rangers, used to be in the MLB central office. And they were now showing favoritism towards the Rangers, the Abreu suspension. And it's like, yo, you guys are whiny losers. Like that's the organization. That's not fans. That's the organization letting that get out, that's their mindset on that. Just like get lost.
Get lost.
I mean, and from the Rangers end, it has to feel so good to score, what was it, 20 runs over the final 2 games and just bludgeon your division up.
Pound them.
Just bludgeon the team that you eventually lost the division to on the last day. And like
With the same
record that you're just inherently you're in-state rivals with, and just like absolutely bludgeon them out of the playoffs. Got to feel good.
Also, I mean,
To leave nothing to question.
No.
that has to feel good. But on the opposite end of the spectrum here, Dallas, I know that you will probably have some words here. It sounds like that was Dusty Baker's final game managing.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I keep seeing it's like the way that it's worded in headlines is that it's his final game managing the Astros, but I have to figure that it's his final game managing, period.
Yeah, I don't know that Dusty gives it another go somewhere else. And I don't know that Dusty plays a card like Boch did and takes a few years off and then just finds another great spot. I mean,
Well, that's just what he did, right? Like that's
right.
Yeah,
but
the Astros,
He said when he got hired. He said when he got hired.
This is it.
Last
This is the
rodeo.
last stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, no, and that's why the minute that I saw that, and just talking to Dusty during the season, I mean, he hinted around at things like that. It's just never a conversation that you're going to have for Dusty Baker. I was never going to tweet anything. I was never going to say anything like, Dusty's talking about, he's got his dogs. I talked about his hunting dogs and, he's pumped. He's got them trained up and he's ready to go shoot birds and live his life, man. But the dude has brought so much to the game of baseball. The high five.
To the world. The fucking high five.
I mean, let's start there.
Fuck baseball.
I mean,
That's
the dude was
crazy.
rocking wristbands of himself, like from as long as I can remember. Like just the life in the game, though. and what he has meant to multiple different organizations. I think that's a big deal. Like, he's going to be as beloved in Houston, maybe as he will be in some of the other stops, like his stay in San Francisco. I mean, where I fell in love with him. So
is he already in the Hall of Fame?
No, should be. I mean, will be.
He's, he started in MLB before anyone even went to the moon. Let that sink in. This guy's been around since 1960 fucking 8.
Yep. Part of the not part of the.
That was when they lowered the mound, right?
Because old Gibby, Gibby was fucking hurting
Bob
feelings.
Gibson. Yeah.
1-1-2.
Didn't he win the Cy Young Award that year? 68.
Yes. With that.
Look at that. Little baseball knowledge on your bitch asses. Oh my god.
Well, what do we like? What do we not like?
I don't like that the Phillies aren't moving on. I will say that bothers me a lot. It's not even like I get that when people are like, oh, like what the DBacks are the underdogs, and it's a good story. It's a good story. Bryce Harper winning a fucking World Series ring to cement his legacy. That's a good story. Like that. I care way more about that than I care about the fucking Arizona Diamondbacks going back to the World Series.
Yeah, and I like, just from an underdog perspective, like individually, and just how I pull for the underdog. But there are moments like that, and I think I was probably biased going into this for that very reason alone, because just getting to know Bryce and pulling for him and wanting that to be a thing, because I have watched what has unfolded, and we're not going to get into this, but just the whole Trout thing, and like, dude, for him to get that ring, and like, for me,
his character arc, like his whole story.
Yeah.
Like Joe's got a video from, when was that video from? Last year, Joe?
Yeah.
So it didn't include like the NLCS and all that, or it did? No, it did not.
No.
But yeah, like if you just go back and from day one, take in Bryce Harper's journey to where he is today, it's gonna feel incomplete without a championship. Like, it's not like a Hall of Fame plaque in Cooperstown is not the if it were a movie, it's not the plaque in Cooperstown that they close credits with. It's winning a World Series title.
It's him hitting the fucking walk-off is what it ends with. That's where, like, and it's just because he's that dude.
2-run game.
Even under the bright lights of the playoffs, Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian-style wheat ale is the beer that's made brighter. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark for baseball fans, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. From its bold, refreshing flavor to its beautiful, bright color, Blue Moon is as iconic as America's pastime. I was definitely drinking some Blue Moons this week, watching double Game 7s. Honestly, I don't know how you watch a Game 7 in baseball without having a Blue Moon by your side. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball, so it's the perfect match for the playoffs. The crack of a beer, the pour, the first sip of that bold flavor. Blue Moon always feels like a special occasion. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful, bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all through the playoffs. Brighten up the baseball playoffs with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for fresh baseball merch, and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
I think the thing with the D-backs too, I'm trying to put my finger on it as to why we're like, Dallas said he's typically an underdog guy. And I think we can all relate to that. I think it might be because the only series in which the underdog thing really played for the D-backs was against the Dodgers. And I think people kind of got behind that when it was against the Dodgers. And I remember, I was with some of you guys at the time, and we were like, holy shit, the D-backs are just absolutely pouring it on and embarrassing the Dodgers in this game. Like, the Phillies weren't a juggernaut, right? Like, they weren't this beast that had to be slayed by the underdog D-backs, right? The Phillies really were closer to the underdog type than they were the juggernaut, because they had just slayed the big bad Braves, right?
Braves.
And they had the underdog mentality. that was still present from last season's team. So I think like that's part of the thing that's going, and they're not going to be able to play it, the D-backs, I don't think, very effectively against the Rangers either. Because I think the Rangers have, even though they spent lots of money to field this team.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the difference maker, Jay, because I've already kind of seen people saying, oh, are you serious? Okay, you won the division the last day of the season, but you spent $500,000 between two guys to get there. You're starting to get help from other worlds, but you spend this kind of money. Isn't this what you expect? And I'm going to say, yes, this is what you expect. And there's nothing wrong with watching a team spend the money that they've spent and get to where they've gone. Buying
pennants is cool as shit. I wish my team bought pennants all the time. I just don't think like the Texas Rangers are in the national consciousness as this Goliath that the D-backs. I think that's part of why this is unsatisfying, is because they're not really slaying big bad teams. They're slaying teams that have like a little bit of their own kind of underdog mentality to them, or an underdog narrative about them. Like the Rangers have been fighting quote unquote all season, and they've been one of the most like roller coaster teams throughout not only the 2023 regular season, where we thought they were awesome, and then DOA, and then awesome again, but also the postseason, with 7 straight to start off and then 3 straight losses where it looked like the Astros were going to wipe them out.
But don't you think the Phillies are like past that underdog feel?
I don't.
Like just because they went to the World Series last year.
I don't.
They like, just like the Rangers, spent a shit ton of money, have a shit ton of stars.
Well, that's my thing.
Only 5 days ago, they were like the World Series favorite.
I don't know.
Shoe 'em in.
It's tough to look at a team that has Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto as an underdog. It's really tough for me to look at.
I don't know what we're doing throwing JT Realmuto out in there. Like, dude, what are we doing?
Well, because he's a bad baseball player? What the fuck?
Because JT Realmuto doesn't strike fear into any player ever, or any opponent ever.
What
are you talking about right now?
What, doesn't he have the biggest contract for a catcher?
Guys, are we really going to say that JT Realmuto is the type of guy that we're going to name as we're talking about juggernaut Goliath team?
You have dismissed.
He's their 5th best player. He's like their
you've dismissed him like he's a fucking
he's one of the best catchers. He's one of the best catchers in baseball. But like, I don't understand how he relates into the conversation about whether that team is a Goliath or not, narrative wise.
Underdog teams are not going to have $100 million catchers.
Yeah, and if you put JT Realmuto on the Diamondbacks, what
name another team that's got $100 million fucking player?
I don't understand. I don't understand how a team that hasn't won the World Series, that has all of these grinder types, the Bryce Harper attitude that we've talked about ad nauseum on this podcast, how that team doesn't have underdog tendencies about them, given what they went through last year and what they've gone through this year in upending the 1,000 win Braves to get to the NLCS. We've been talking.
They were underdogs against the Braves.
We've been talking about them this way the entire time, right up until 30 seconds ago when I said they were underdogs. That's when they stopped being underdogs on this podcast.
My whole beef
because
of
JT
was how you
Realmuto.
how you dismissed it like Jay who?
Yes,
JP
because he's irrelevant to this part of the conversation. I didn't say he was bad. He's obviously maybe the best catcher over the last 5 or 6 years in baseball. That doesn't have anything to do with whether they're an underdog or not.
It has
nothing to do with it.
What was his name?
Is that?
Philly versus the world, man. I get it. You know, that's the Philly versus the world. Us versus everybody else. The little underdog, the boy who could, the fighting Phils. Yeah. I'm not buying it. Going in the playoffs, the Phillies probably had the 3rd best chances to win the World Series.
No.
Yes, it was the Braves, number 1.
Dodgers.
I guess
Astros.
The Dodgers, maybe and then the Astros, then the Phillies, and then the Astros they almost missed the playoffs.
The idea that we're trying to deny.
Remember, Tex came on.
The idea that we're trying to deny that this group of Phillies has an underdog narrative about them over the last 2 years is fucking stupid.
They definitely did last year. They definitely did.
It's the same fucking team with the same song. We've been talking about this the whole time. It's the same roster.
I didn't get to.
It's a false narrative.
To speak when someone said Like, does them getting to the World Series last year change the narrative about them being underdogs this year? I think it does.
It didn't change it about the Kansas City Royals after they'd lost in the World Series and tried to make it back.
They're the fucking Royals.
I don't. The Phillies.
Well, and to be fair,
go ahead and check.
They were showing the world, Jay Hay, what needed to happen. They were at the forefront of the evolution of how the bullpens were being managed into the postseason and really into that season 14 and 15. So while you might think underdog, but they had 3 players down there in that bullpen that carried a lot of water. And I get it, maybe not a lot of household names when you start to talking about bullpen guys, but we look at bullpen guys a little differently now, and I think that's because it started then.
No, Fran.
Mm-hmm. And also, look at this. The Phillies made the World Series last year and then added Trey Turner with a $300 million contract. And they had Zach Wheeler, they had Aaron Nola. I mean, those 2 pitchers, is there any better?
We're literally talking
about
the losingest franchise in Major League Baseball history. No team has more losses than the Phillies franchise.
Because they've been around since 1812, brother. Yeah, they lost a lot of games. They played a lot of fucking games.
You guys are bending over backwards to not say that they're underdogs.
I just think
Jay, you're
JT
trolling,
Realmuto is a good
Crazy.
baseball player.
Crazy.
That's all this is about.
Crazy.
For me, that's all this is about.
We all know Realmuto is a good baseball player. He has absolutely nothing to do with whether they're underdogs or not.
What's his pop time?
He's fucking 179.
He can throw it so fast to second base, and that's why they're not underdogs. Because his second base pop time is so good. God, if I said that to you guys, you would make fun of me endlessly.
Also, their journey last year gave them so many bandwagon fans outside of Philly. So they're not underdogs when you've got the whole world rooting for you.
And listen, they were underdogs. They were underdogs last year because they were the last team to make the playoffs. But let's be honest, the reason why they were the last team to make the playoffs is because they fucking underachieved like shit all regular season. They weren't supposed to be that bad last year during the regular season with Bryce Harper.
What are we talking about?
Schwarber, Castellanos, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. They got a fucking lineup that is as good as anybody's. It's not like they're the little boy could, dude. And then they had Trey Turner.
I like how we're now pretending that Nick Castellanos is a star to say that they're not underdogs.
The boy
Nick Castellanos was fucking terrible last year.
Was Nick Castellanos an all-star?
I
don't know. Michael Lorenzen was an all-star too. Maybe they should have started his ass. Maybe they should have started his ass. Wait, yeah. I guess when you have a guy who was an all-star and threw a no-hitter, you can't possibly be an underdog. Too much of a juggernaut. Fucking
the hate runs deep with Jay.
Oh man.
God.
Jay, are you going to post a video of you burning Realmuto's jersey later?
Yeah. Who pissed on your dictionary?
I can't believe you guys won't just admit they're underdogs or were. I hope we could get a supercut of this podcast of us talking about their fucking underdog mentality over the last fucking 4 months.
They definitely have an underdog mentality. I would say it's a little bit like overplayed. Like they act like it's us against the world. That's like what Philly does every fucking time. That's us against the world.
Every sports team. Nobody believes in us.
And you throw out but you throw out the Bryce Harper grinder. Well, yeah,
yes.
that's why he is who he is because he has that mentality. But he's not a fucking career 220 hitter just trying to hang on and get an AB.
Yeah, legitimately, nobody believes in the D-backs. Like
nobody.
It was Torey Lovello and like the D-backs parents.
Well, I'm not saying that the D-backs aren't underdogs. I'm just saying that if you're an underdog going up against a bunch of other teams that won like 90 games because this is the new playoff hell that we live in, then you're going to have a hard time maybe getting your underdog thing to latch on nationally. Because the Rangers probably feel like they're underdogs too, because they were trash 2 years ago and bad last year.
You know what? I think I got the comparison. And I don't know if you guys are going to catch on to this or not, but it definitely works. The Savannah Bananas, right?
Mm-hmm.
The team that they play is the Party Animals.
Yep.
And
They've got the cutoff sleeves, and like they're supposed to be like these like, you know, meathead douchebags. Everyone goes to the Savannah Banana games thinking that they're gonna root for the Bananas, and then they end up leaving being like, you know what? I kind of like the party animals. It's not that the Phillies are underdogs. It's just that they're the team that you didn't expect to like and think that they were cool, but you do. Like they're the party animals in this situation.
Yeah, I that's why I said what I said about all of the narratives surrounding the individuals. They have characters that you can like and fall in love with. Like you want to be a part of the people that were like, "Yo, the ovation for Trey, how sweet was that? He just kept parking baseballs. That was awesome to see." Like Bryce Harper coming back early from the TJ, just continuing to lay it all out there. Love that dude. He's our captain. JT Realmuto, one of the game's best catchers, if not the game's best catcher, brings along that underdog mentality.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what? Kyle Schwarber, cult hero. Cult hero.
Everywhere he goes.
And you got Cy Young's. You got Cy Young conversationalists down there. And so
starts with Ranger Suarez too.
So the Phillies were easier to get on board with. The Phillies have been easier to fall in love with. The Diamondbacks haven't presented a ton of those opportunities. That's all. That's the difference, I think. But I think we've beat that horse about as much as you. It's now glue.
Yeah. How about we get some Jake's takes? Jake, what do you think about this series?
Yeah, I mean, I had a tweet ready to go basically that said, if you buy a ticket to a Phillies playoff game, you're basically signing up for a gigantic party for 3+ hours. And that's literally what every single game was like leading up to game 6 and 7. So I was honestly shocked, but yeah, tough for the Phillies. I know what it's like to be in a playoff run like that and just to get shocked at the end. So brutal.
Especially because it happened twice. Like, I say what you want about last year. Once the Phillies got to the World Series, I thought that they could stand up to the Astros, which they did. You know, they lost in 6. That's respectable. But Rachel, who works at DraftKings, she was like, all right, what do I need to know about the DBacks? And I was like, all you need to know is this is going to be the easiest playoff series the Phillies have ever played. Correct quote. And I feel so bad. I feel so bad for letting her down. You know, those Phillies fans, like, I feel like, you know, going back to the 2021 Red Sox that Jake was talking about, it was a special run, and it just feels awkward that it ended when it did, because when Schwarber hit the grand slam at Fenway in game 3, you're thinking like, wow, like I'll take my chances against the Braves in the World Series. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, it's not guaranteed, and we're probably not going to be the favorite, but getting past Houston, like, that pretty much puts a nice little stamp on a nice little magical season that we pulled out of our ass. But this 2023 Phillies season, I think, despite what the standings were in the division, they were never going to win the division, and that's fine. Like, I don't even think that was the expectation, playing in the same division as the Braves, and obviously the Mets were supposed to be good. They were not. But after their season ended in the World Series, I think the expectation was to find a way to get back. And then you're literally licking your chops because you're like, wow, we drew the fucking D-backs in the NLCS. We basically have a pennant bye. Like, we're in there beating the Braves, whoever. And that's what I said whoever won the division series between the Braves and the Phillies was going to win the World Series. And lo and behold, another shocker. And we've got the fucking 84 win D-backs are in the World Series, baby.
It's a crazy shot, because not only they curb stomp the Braves, and then they curb stomp the D-backs for 2 games. And then it's just like,
those were demoralized. Like, they did not look like they belonged. I was holding back tweets saying, like, I genuinely feel bad for the D-backs. Like, they've got a nice thing going on. Like, they should be happy about the season that they had. They should be happy that they beat the Dodgers and the Brewers. Like, those are 2 really good teams. But it's going to be so demoralizing to have to go up against the Phillies with home field advantage going the Phillies' way. And after 2 games, it certainly looked like that. Like, they're not on the same playing field. And that's why baseball is great. That's why baseball is great. You can be a little team like the feisty little D-backs. What was like the signature moment of that series? Like what was
I'd say the Alec Thomas home run.
the 3-run shot?
Yeah, it was that game 4. Like that was a must-win game, obviously.
Gotta have it.
And to come up clutch, pinch hit home run for Alec Thomas when you really didn't think the D-backs had a chance. Even watching that game, that was probably the turning point. Definitely the turning point.
Like,
and still after that, you still thought the Phillies were going to win, but you're like, oh, that's a nice.
I remember
Hey.
like what was it? It must have been game 3. Yeah, it was something like if the Phillies swept, then we were recording on Friday. But if the D-backs won, then we were recording on Saturday. And I was like, oh, perfect. Like we're gonna have Saturday off. Like there's no way the D-backs won a game. And then we ended up recording on Saturday because they won fucking 2 straight. But I want to give them their credit. Like I don't want to come across as like the Phillies didn't choke. The D-backs played their game. Bringing it back to the point earlier, like we asked the question, what do the D-backs have to do to win games 6 and 7 in Philly? And we talked about the base running. We talked about putting pressure on the Phillies, Real Muto behind the plate, and Corbin Carroll stealing his first fucking base of the series tonight, right?
Yes.
No, was it? I thought he stole last night.
No, he didn't have. Did he have any steals? Yeah, he had 2 stolen bases tonight. He had 2 tonight.
He had 2 tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought he
stole
stole
his
one
first
last night, too.
base of the series tonight.
Yes, sorry.
Came into game 7 with only 3 hits in the entire series and was 3 for 3 by like the 4th inning. Yeah.
The D-backs they kind of outcoached them. Like they just started stealing when it mattered,
Labello
and
game,
those
you're
steals matter. Well, I wouldn't say that. What about fucking Brett Strom? I mean, this fucking pitching staff just totally shut him out. This guy's supposed to be the fucking pitching whisperer. You saw him remember when they had him in the TV doing the thing, pitch around this guy, face Rojas, who, no offense to Rojas, terrible at hitting.
Got the bunt down,
exactly
though.
what they
got
did.
the bunt down.
He got the bunt down.
That was,
that didn't.
I don't think it led to a run, but it was a nice bunt. And he was almost safe.
Congrats. I had that on the radio, so I didn't even get to see that part. But
lucky bounce.
Yeah, so I'm giving it. You know what the Diamondbacks did? They outcoached him. Pitching coach got him from the Astros. They turned into this ragtag bunch of pitchers into aces against one of the most feared lineups in the league, and just silenced them for what 3 games? Like at least the last 2 games.
Got Malcolm Butler
Silenced them completely without Mad Bum.
How do we get back to this series? I thought we were talking about the fucking Rangers.
Yeah. Well, we put a cap on it. We got Jake's takes,
Yeah.
and that's where we're at.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I mean, I experienced Game Time firsthand with Jared. We were down in Atlanta for games 1 and 2 of the NLDS. We were chilling in a bar next to the stadium. We were like, you know what? Let's go to this game. But wait a second. It's like 30 minutes to first pitch and we don't have tickets. Well, we hopped right on the Game Time app. Within 15 minutes, I was sitting in my seat with a hot dog and a cold beer. Game Time's just the best, man. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show you your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal without hidden fees. You can literally buy tickets in seconds. It only takes 2 taps. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code JARED for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code JARED for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
What? Oh, Dallas, give yourself some credit. I think you nailed the Nathan Eovaldi prediction for how many outs he was going to record in Game 6.
I did. I said 18, 19 outs, and he completed 6 1/3 innings to total 19 outs.
Nate's
Yep.
the best.
No, that was great to see. Also great to see
Actually,
Wheeler.
you know what? You know
What?
what? Let me ask you guys this question. I'll start with Jay Hay. Out of all the pitchers that started a game in this postseason, you have one game to win. What pitcher are you putting on the mound?
Damn. All the pitchers who started a game in the postseason.
This year. Yep.
Just based on his ability to field his position, I'm going Ranger Suarez.
That's not a bad pick. I swear to God.
Stop.
If this were Family Feud, Ranger Suarez is on the board.
Yeah, no.
I think I know my answer.
Who is it?
Zach Wheeler.
That's
who I was probably going to go with.
I mean, it's
Just the fucking 34 to 4 or whatever it was, 34 punch outs.
to four walks.
It's not
4
his fault.
walks,
They're
like-
not going on. That's for sure.
No,
Mhm.
it's not. It is definitely not. Because when you
Joseph?
look at
Yeah, Wheeler. I mean, he even came in today, shut him down on short rest. Did everything he could.
Jake?
Give me fucking Nate Eovaldi.
Yeah, dude.
I thought you were going Scherzer.
Nah.
You know, I think Scherzer. I mean, we got to give him.
Yeah,
come on,
Eovaldi-
Scherzer, big game pitcher.
Eovaldi and that would have been fun to watch an Eovaldi Wheeler showdown. You see that series go to 7 and have those two dudes square off.
That would have been a fucking great series, Dallas. If you had Phillies Rangers, you're talking about two great lineups. The Rangers bullpen still sucks, but it is what you have Kimbrel with the Phils, so I guess that balances it out. And then you get some dogs at the top of the rotation. Like, I would have loved to have seen that series, and fucking Corbin Carroll ruined it.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely ruined it.
You did.
But good for him.
Yep. Good for him.
Good for him for ruining it. But yeah,
When,
credit to the Texas Rangers. You guys aren't giving any credit. I feel like it's because you slapdicks didn't pick the Texas Rangers, so you guys don't have anything nice to say.
Oh, I don't have any.
I
I don't have any issue giving the Texas Rangers all the credit
Yeah.
they
let
want
me
or
hear
deserve.
some nugs. Do you have any nugs, Jay?
I do actually. So
Please.
Yep. Adolis Garcia had 15 RBI in the LCS against the Astros. That is the most RBI in a single postseason series in postseason history. Not just
Who did he pass? Johnny Damon?
not just LCS, but any postseason series, any postseason round. The most ever
14.
The most ever in a DS is John Valentin with the 1999 Red Sox. He had 12.
Mhm.
The most ever in a World Series is Bobby Richardson with the 1960 New York Yankees, who had 12. And the most ever prior to this year in an LCS was Nelson Cruz in 2011 with 13. But Adolis Garcia had 15, as I said. So the most RBI ever. He's also, obviously, this would follow, but he has 20 RBI on the postseason overall. That is
Tying Corey Seager in 2020.
Close. So the one he is behind is David Freese from 2000. So he's tied Seager and from 2020, and he's behind David Freese in 2011, who had 21 RBI in that postseason run. So if he gets 1 RBI in the World Series, he will tie the record, and if he gets 2, he will have the most RBI ever in a postseason. So there's some love for Garcia specifically.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who impressed you guys the most in this series besides Adolis Garcia?
That's a good question.
Oh.
Can I say Leody Taveras? Just
Defensively, you mean?
Yeah, spending a lot of time
in the air.
underneath the baseball, like at the wall, and he made a lot of it look easy. I mean, it's not what impressed me the most. It was just something that I took note of early. Like they did a good job of putting themselves in the right spot, and he covered a lot of ground.
How about the fact that Kyle Tucker robbed a home run and nobody gave a fuck?
Nobody cared at all. At all. Almost robbed a second one.
Yeah.
Shit, he almost robbed 3.
Oh,
Like,
you
almost-
needed to. I mean, if you're not gonna fucking bring anything offensively, you might as well step your shit up. defensively.
Fucking wet noodle shit.
Yeah.
And that could be, you know what? I'll say this. That's a take.
Kyle
Here's a
Tucker
take.
cost the Astros the pennant.
No, here's a take. Kyle Tucker being in his own head
Wow.
in what, Joe? When was that? When the batting gloves came out?
Batting gloves, yeah.
That was early on.
That was
I would
early.
say game 2,
That was early.
game 1.
That did it. That did it. The reemergence, like if there's if you can have the yips at the plate, that's an indicator of it.
Yeah.
That
Going
right
no
there.
batting gloves.
Gloves, no gloves, gloves, no gloves. I just can't get right. I don't know what it is, so I'm fucking searching right now. I'm trying, like there is no donkey for me to pin this tail on. I don't know. That ass left town a while ago. I don't know what's happening here. Like if he could wear his helmet backwards, he would have. If he could wear a rally helmet, he would have.
How many home runs did Jose Altuve hit in that fucking series? 5?
Yes.
He's like 4 shy of Manny for the all-time lead. He hit one in Game 7. It was the saddest home run in postseason history. Bobby Dynamite's still blasting the fireworks, even though it's fucking 20-3. Good for Altuve, though. I feel like he's never going to be back in the good graces of baseball fans ever, but I feel like he can play out the string and slowly gain back some respect. Especially now because there's some rumors that he's talking extension to stay in Houston to sign another extension. If he's just like, fuck it, like I'm going down with the ship no matter what.
He's the one Astro that deserves the most forgiveness.
Thank you.
Obviously, because he didn't even fucking cheat.
Oh, okay.
If you watch
All
my
right.
video
All right.
about
All
it, obviously you
ask
don't
him?
watch baseball doesn't exist, Dal.
Yeah, it's
I have a whole 20-minute video about how he's pretty much completely innocent.
not completely. It's he got
like 3 bangs, dude.
He dabbled.
He got like 3
Dabbled.
bangs, dog. It was like 2% of the pitches where you should have
Alright,
got
so-
bangs. He
so
got
if you're-
bangs on. And there's like 4 videos of him obviously getting a bang and looking in the dugout like, stop fucking banging. He hated the bangs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evidence that he didn't like the bangs. It's very damning if you're anti-Altuve, if you watch the
I'm
evidence.
pro
because
Altuve. And honestly, that video shaped 45% of my opinion.
Wow. It's a very specific percentage.
Yeah, I didn't want to give a
Just
majority. It's a control thing.
The answer to your question is Josh Spores.
Okay.
you know, he went to the same high school
I
as
did
me,
not
right?
know that. But now I'm even
Yep.
more impressed with him in this series.
Yeah, we're
I mean, he
friends.
appeared in 5 of the games. Games 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7. Rangers bullpen was identified on this podcast as a potential problem issue, both in the postseason overall and prior to the start of this series, I believe.
Has yet to rear its ugly head.
Yet to rear its ugly head. And he was the guy who, was, by virtue of appearing in 5 games, was maybe their most consistent reliever in this series. So if we're removing Garcia, that's what stood out to me.
Whatever it was, game 1 or 2, when what was it? They jumped out to like 5-0 lead, 6-0 or whatever, and then Houston made it a 1-run game because the bullpen was kind of giving it back a little bit. That's the only thing I can think of. And the division series against Baltimore, when that 11-8 game, when it should have been a blowout, and they kind of let Baltimore get back into it. But they've yet to lose a game that their bullpen sucked.
He's the one guy in the bullpen who's been shutting them down. I mean, what about game 6 before Adolis hit that fucking grand slam? You had Chapman coming in to, I think, face the top of the lineup with a 2-run lead, which would have been great to watch. Unfortunately, Adolis just stepped up. But one crazy stat for the Rangers is like Adolis set the record, 15 RBIs, best player of all time. Seager has a higher OPS than him this postseason.
Well, there's a lot of swing and miss there with Adolis, but Seager's putting the ball in play. Puts the ball in play. And he's playing great defense, too. Watching him and Turner this postseason has just opened my eyes to what good defense at shortstop is supposed to look like. But yeah, it's a shame we'll only see one of those guys moving on. And I think I'm stealing a take from Jay, I believe, but the Phillies playing the Rangers in the World Series would have only furthered the narrative that owners should be spending more money. That was you, right, Jay?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of pulling for.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the Rangers win. It still works.
That's true. It did spend a fuck ton of money. Dallas, who impressed you the most in the ALCS?
I mean, I think
You said Tavares, didn't you?
yeah, but I was just kind of just kind of at his defensive prowess. I think it's the fact, like, it's a collective effort on the mound from the Texas Rangers. The fact that the bullpen has not been the issue. The fact that has not been
It is shocking.
what has prevented them, because it was every step of the way the reason things were not going to work out for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, like
And
they
so
were objectively bad. Like it wasn't
all
like, oh,
Jordan
if you-
Montgomery has done, all Nate Eovaldi has done is allow them to hide the pieces that they felt might not be the ones you want to run out there in leverage situations. And they have allowed guys like Spores to materialize and turn into this. I'm not going to call him a hero just yet, but when you are putting the work in that he's putting in, when we go back and look at the road to this point and why the Texas Rangers have been able to have this little bit of a run here, that's going to be a big part of it.
I tell you what, if you're the coach for the Rangers and you've seen what you're seeing, World Series, are you letting Spores shut the doors?
After what you've seen from Leclerc?
You putting him in the ninth?
Well, I think, Joe, you almost, and this is where you really got to, and I think the Texas Rangers are there. This is where you really start to be able to dive into some of the analytics and see whose stuff plays the best against a specific player. So when I'm taking a look at your attack angle and your average exit velo, but I have a really good idea of what your swing plane looks like as a pitcher. If I was a pitching coach, part of that pitching brain trust, that's where the work's being done right now. Is, all right, what angle, what kind of spin is this guy seeing right now? And consistently, what is he seeing right now? And can we match that up? And can we vary those looks? So if it's a matter of him seeing a lefty and then a righty or whatever it is, like, not telling you that Will Smith's going to be your prime option in a leverage spot, but if you're thinking about trying to move stuff around and it's going to be, maybe it's a Leclerc earlier because of the way Spores has been throwing it, well, let's dive into the stuff and let's see. Does the slider play better from Spores? Does it play better from Leclerc? Does the fastball, is there a little more ride from one guy that allows him to maybe miss up in the zone? And then that slider or the sweeper that one of them might deploy, does that play off it better against this individual swing? That's where the game really, for me, starts to get super interesting and the matchups matter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at Texas bullpen numbers in the playoffs, they have the lowest K through 9 by far, like a 6.89. They don't strike anybody out, but they have a 3.7 ERA, which isn't that bad, but their FIP is 5.28.
Yeah.
So they are fucking on thin ice, skating through
they're
shit.
not taking care of business themselves, really, right? Like that's kind of what that tells you, is that they've gotten lucky. They've been able to make pitches when they've needed to. When you look at the ERA, and it's funny you're talking about this, because I forget who I was highlighting, but the success that they had, and I mentioned the FIP, and it was because what that tells me is he's been able to make pitches. They've been able to make pitches, and they've gotten the outs when they've needed to. They've sprayed it around a bit. It doesn't look terribly sexy, and there hasn't been the dominance there, but it's worked.
Yeah, and it definitely helps that they are scoring like 10 runs a game. That's why the Rangers are where they're at. These guys hit fucking bombs, and they have Adolis Garcia, and Seager's pretty good too.
And Josh Young.
And Marcus
Josh Young.
And Marcus Simeon.
Dollar Shave Club's member favorite ball spray is back and better than ever. Balls get sweaty, itchy, and chafe. You shouldn't have to suck it up. You like sports analogies, guys? Well, here's one. Stop foul balls like the one in your shorts with ball spray. Dollar Shave Club's ball spray is like a deodorant for your balls. Made for men who don't want to deal with the discomfort of sweat and stink below the belt. Ball spray does not prevent sweat, but it can help once it shows up. Formulated to absorb moisture, reduce chafing, and protect against odor, complete with a minty tingle finish to let you know you're fresh. The precision sprayer makes application easy at any angle and helps your boys stay fresh and dry. It's formulated without ball-busting ingredients like talc or zinc, and it's non-irritating. It's suitable for your family jewels. Get a fresh pair with ball spray from Dollar Shave Club.
All right, we got to take a break and talk about Zyn nicotine pouches. We're always talking about what a team needs to get to number one, but Zyn nicotine pouches are already there. Zyn has helped millions of people achieve a lasting change, earning the title of America's number one nicotine pouch. If you're a smoker or you're a dipper looking to make a change, look no further than Zyn. Zyn is made with 6 simple ingredients and is available in a wide range of varieties, including spearmint, citrus, and even coffee. And it's available in 2 strengths so you can control your nicotine satisfaction. Because it's discreet, you can enjoy it anywhere, anytime, so you never have to miss a moment of the game. Plus, every can of Zyn earns you points towards premium items like tailgating gear, top-of-the-line tech, Zyn swag, even gift cards. Find your Zyn at your local convenience store or online at Zyn.com. That's Zyn, ZYN.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Have you talked to Simeon at all, Dallas?
DMing. Yeah. No, I haven't spoken to him.
No.
But like, talked to.
He doesn't want you to have his number, probably.
No, I told you I have his number. I talked to Lowe and I talked to Grossman.
Okay.
I talked to Boch.
What do you say?
He said, hell of a ride.
Yeah.
I've been talking to Will Smith too.
And shout out Bobby Wilson. Shout out Bobby Wilson. I gave up his first big league knock, and he is now 4 wins away from a World Series champion.
Who?
He's coach on the Rangers.
Oh yeah, Bobby.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Shout out Bobby Wilson.
I'm pretty. Isn't he interviewing for the
Oh, B. Willie.
Cleveland?
That's Steven.
He's going
That's
to
Steven Vogt.
Oh yeah. Okay. You know them all. It's a lifer.
I do.
That was a lifer.
Yeah. Oh, and I just want to shout out former teammate of mine, and I'd like to, while I have you here, Jared, congratulate you and the Red Sox on finding a head of baseball operations. I don't know if they're going to call him a general manager, if he's the head of baseball ops.
Head of baseball
no idea.
ops. Head of baseball ops.
But former teammete of mine, Craig Breslow.
Let's go Red Sox! Let's go Red Sox! Let's go Red Sox!
And your former teammate just got drafted in Dubai. Bartolo Colon.
That's
Yeah.
right. Former teammate Bart drafted in Dubai.
Yeah, Dallas hates Bartolo Colon, though.
I don't hate Bartolo Colon.
Yeah,
I love.
well, you call him a
Bartolo
fat piece of shit.
Well,
That's
that
crazy.
never happened.
Yeah.
Literally never happened.
I mean, not publicly, no, but
Well, it didn't happen in public. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. You got to go. Like I after the lashing that Jay Hay just gave JT Realmuto, there's nothing
yeah.
can compare.
Well,
Aren't you not allowed to drink in Dubai? That's illegal.
what? No.
I think Bartolo might be in
I
trouble.
wonder which of Bartolo's families are going with him to Dubai.
Oh!
Hey, let's not make this personal. now.
Holy shit.
Wait, is it too soon?
Dude, I feel like everyone's probably graduated.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. I don't. If any of his kids are listening to this podcast and we just broke the, I'm legitimately sorry. But I thought, yeah,
Jay, hey, what are you trying to do to Bartolo's sperm count?
It's no problem with spreading
Well,
the
he
love
is.
around,
Jay Hay
man.
did announce on the beginning of this broadcast that he was here to suck off some dudes.
that's true. I did. I said I was ready. I missed last pod, so ready to suck.
Yeah.
Ready to suck.
I was
gonna
just
say top
fucking
three.
Jay Hay. What a clown. I like to
Yeah.
yank on him. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I mean, I'd fly my guy down here to do me sometimes. I'm attracted to a lot of different guys. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty done. I did my best on this episode. It wasn't my best, but that's all I got. It's the best I can do today.
Way to battle.
Yeah, this is I can't wait to go take some happy pills and go to sleep. You guys got any final thoughts?
No. I mean,
We're gonna drop a World Series preview pod before the World Series, right? World Series on Friday. We got plenty of time to do that, right?
yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would say as much as we don't want to, as much as we were kind of like, oh, the D-backs. Look, think about it this way. You've got one team who has never won a World Series.
Mm-hmm.
And you got another team who probably had no business in the World Series. And now here they are. So at the end of the day, if you're here for the entertainment value, if you can separate the idea that there's not this star power on both sides and you can get on board with some of the underlying narratives that we've discussed today, and you can think about being in an 84 win team's position, 4 wins away from a fucking ring, or winning your first World Series ever in franchise history if you're a Texas Rangers fan, that's a pretty big fucking deal.
I want to be a cowboy, baby.
Joseph, any final thoughts?
Quote from Bryce Harper just dropped.
What do you say?
I let my team down and left the city of Philadelphia down. And that's tough to hear from Harp. He had a great postseason. But yeah, that one stings for the Phils, for Fightins. I was rooting for you. You know me, I'm a fighting myself, but kind of choked it at the end.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but for the guys in it, Will Smith, I want to shout out Will Smith. He has an opportunity to win his 3rd World Series in a row with 3 different teams. I don't believe that's ever happened.
Love that.
And playoff legend, Mad Bum, could also get a ring.
That's true.
Yes.
One of those is going to happen.
That feels like fucking forever ago that he was here this year. Kind of physically. Jay, hey, any final thoughts here?
Shout out to Bob Melvin. It's not every day you see a manager under contract with a team who is allowed to just go to a division rival. It seems unfettered. I haven't seen any reports of compensation happening, so he's just going to the Giants.
So he just has dirt, obviously. Like, you're going to let me go, or else I'm going to tell everyone about X, Y, and Z.
Well, yeah, it's just funny when you like pair this action by the Padres with their comments earlier this year, like, we fully support Bob Melvin as manager and AJ Preller as general manager. And it's like, we support him so much that he can go directly to the team we're competing against.
Yeah. The Red Sox got John Farrell from the Blue Jays, but we had to give up Mike Aviles.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they just, yeah. Nothing apparently changing hands here other than Bob Melvin.
When you think about Bo Mel and the respect level, there's a reason he was allowed to entertain different pastures when he was in Oakland. And that's exactly what he did. They allowed him to move on to San Diego. That pasture, well, more brown and gold, and maybe even more brown than greener gold for Bo Mel there. And they said, you know what? Maybe with what we've got going on here and what you have going on and who you are, yeah, if this isn't working out for us, feel free to have that conversation. Maybe that works out for everybody. And
so Bo Mel leaves another sinking ship as it's going down.
Wow.
When they need him most.
Wow.
Whatever happened to going down with the ship? I thought he was the skipper now.
Well, it sounds like they were like, hey, you know what? Here's the door to hang on to. Like, we're all good. Like, you know, if you need a lifeboat, there's one in San Francisco.
That's not how I see it. I think I think maybe his next up after San Francisco might be the Diamondbacks because he is a snake.
Well, he's already managed the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he's already managed Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks, Mariners, A's, Padres, now the Giants. He's actually his nickname's Ho Melvin.
He could become
he gets around.
Oh,
oh, J.A. Homel. I love it.
Shots fired.
FP Santangelo made this point. Things have worked out for former catchers who played for the San Diego Padres who managed the Giants in the past.
what?
Things have worked out
No, I heard you.
for former catchers who played for the San Diego Padres who ended up managing the Giants. That guy
Bruce Boat.
is set to win his 4th World Series this year, Bruce Bochy.
Cool. I'm just glad that Gabe Kapler didn't get the job.
Wow.
What?
You got hate in your heart? Let it out, Jared.
No, it's not hate. It's not hate. It's preference. Dallas just wants me to hire all of his friends over here.
No, former player.
Do you guys think that Bruce Bochy overworked Madison Bumgarner a half decade ago so that he would flame out in 2023 and not be available for the Diamondbacks when Bochy was managing the Rangers when they faced in the World Series?
Chestnut checkers.
I was just gonna say, Joe. You think Boach just texted Mad Bum checkmate?
Apparently, Mad Bum texted him yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go, Skip. Put me in
You
there.
need innings? I love it. All right, I gotta go eat dinner.
All right. I'm going to go die.
We gone.